Hi, everybody. Welcome to Bimbo Mentality, a podcast about pretty club girls trying to understand all the things that make the world neat. I'm Bug, and I'm joined on the podcast by my beautiful Barbie doll co-host, Emma. How are you doing today, my love?
Hey, doing well. How are you?
I am doing great. I am excited to be here and starting this journey. We are also joined by today's guest, Emily Adler. Emily is a national women's basketball reporter for The Nine Basketball, focusing on player development at the pro level and weirdness at the college level. Today, we're going to see if Emily can think like a bimbo and explain to us all the finer details of women's basketball. How are you doing today, Emily? Welcome to the pod.
I'm doing great. I really love this challenge.
We are excited to see if you can rise to the occasion and see if you can really get into the mind of a bimbo and explain what is interesting to you about this sport. Of course, over in the production booth, steadying our ship and slapping our hands away from the buttons, it's Lilith. How are you tonight, Lilith?
I'm all right. I'm real excited to get this show on the road. I love you, bimbos.
Hell yeah. So, let me explain a little bit about my personal background with the great sport of basketball. So, I went to like a week-long basketball like day camp when I was maybe 7 and sort of paid enough attention and avoided just sort of sitting up in the bleachers enough to gather that you throw the ball at the hoop or you try to and fail.
Mhm.
And
And then you're really impressed when everyone else in the camp does it better than you.
yeah, impressed and or a little sad, as the case may be. Um, I
Many such cases.
I could probably name like 5 or 6 people who have ever played professional basketball. Um, and and I also played like a little bit of a Space Jam PlayStation game when I was a little girl. So
Oh
that's
my God.
that's kind of the experience that I'm coming at this podcast with. Emma, how about you? I know that you're like a little bit sportier than me, so maybe I'll be sort of the bigger bimbo today.
It's actually funny that we're starting with this one because I would say it's probably my least bimbo topic because I'm a little bit of a sports girly. Um and although I'm terrible at basketball, have always been awful, partly because I was 4'11" and weighed 80 pounds when I was in high school.
Sure,
So
sure.
that not ideal for a sport where you're like supposed to be tall, apparently. But I grew up in the '90s and was big into like Michael Jordan and Space Jam as well.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean,
and
that's who wasn't.
right, exactly. That's what I was gonna say. But
We've named one of the 5 or 6 players this time.
I was
Yeah,
gonna
I
say
could.
that
Well,
I
yeah.
was.
Space Jam 1 and 2 gives me 2 of those. Scooby Doo meets the Harlem Globetrotters gives me at least one other.
Oh my God.
I have that on DVD. I bought that DVD at a Cracker Barrel. Anyway.
There's a
Wow.
lot going on there. There's a lot going
I
on.
was gonna say you like I didn't even know Cracker Barrel sold media, physical media.
So not only are we learning a lot about basketball, we're learning a lot about Cracker Barrel.
Oh my God, that is wild. Um,
It used to be a society.
So Emily, tell us a little bit about your what drew you to the sport of basketball. What excites you about basketball?
So what really excites me about basketball is the way I connect with it, which is fondly remembering when I played in elementary and middle school, which was, let's say, I think I played 5 seasons and scored 3 layups. And I think like my entire team, to an embarrassing extent, would like hoot and holler for me on each of those 3 occasions. That's not per season, by the way. That is total.
Okay, so wait, so you lost me.
I'd really just like to relive my glory days.
You lost me a little. A layup that's good.
So a layup is a form of scoring.
Okay.
In basketball, there are 3 ways to score, worth 1, 2, and 3 points. There are different names for those ways to score. Other than a dunk, which I
I know what a
believe you're
dunk is.
familiar with.
I
Yeah,
got.
you're online
Yeah, I'm
enough.
that
Like,
far.
at least as a metaphor, you're
Yeah,
familiar with the
I
concept of
think
dunking.
they do a dunk or
Other
two
than
in
a
Space
dunk,
Jam.
the easiest way to score is to get as close to the rim as possible and then lay the ball up towards the basket or off the rim, hence a layup.
Okay, that makes sense. That's a good name for that thing that you just described.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's like it's like for people that are short or can't jump like me or you, if we were to go like try to put the ball in the circle, it would be like what we would do probably.
Got it. Okay, that makes sense. I'm following. I'm getting there. I think I'm learning a whole lot today about basketball.
We've
So
already learned like two things.
yeah, exactly. So what I'm taking away from that description is that you were good. You were good at basketball as in your younger days.
Amazing. By the standards of people who can't play basketball, I was great.
Okay, cool. So what? So it's interesting then that you like your kind of your takeaway from that was to get excited about a sport, because I think if I were in the experience, if I were in the situation of having that experience and meeting that description, I'd just be thinking like, well, I don't want anybody to laugh at me.
I had a really, really roundabout way of getting to basketball with where I am with it now. Um, to make a long story as short as I can, basically, I was really into sports when I was younger. I was super into football. Basically, in middle and high school, I was actually in a state certified assistant varsity football coach
Oh
Oh,
wow.
at my high school. Held a lot of different hats and like actually like did real things. It wasn't just like running the tablets and setting up the headsets. It was like shockingly real things. I don't know why they trusted me with that, but they did. Now we're here. Um, my best guy friend in high school, at one point in the middle of it, was like, "Hey, you're a dork. You'd probably be interested in this one professional team in the NBA. That's the league the men play in. You'd probably be interested in this one team that is losing on purpose to like historically disgusting degrees." And I was like, "You son of a bitch, I'm in." So that was my into basketball.
Was it the Philadelphia 76ers?
That would be the process undertaken by the Philadelphia 76ers.
oh, neat. Okay,
Never forget.
what's this about? Like, I guess this is like a story. This is
So
a thing that happened.
yeah, so as I guess a brief aside, in basically every sport other than baseball on the international scale as opposed to domestic, and women's soccer, and basically every other professional American sport, the worse you are, the better um, the better opportunity you have to select incoming young professional players who are coming up from the amateur ranks.
Oh, I bet that's what
This is
Moneyball was
usually in the
about, probably.
that's that's part of it, yeah. Um,
Or not at all. I don't know. I didn't.
tanking is
Oh my god.
tanking's tangentially related to Moneyball. I'll accept that answer.
I only kind of watched the movie.
Brad Pitt's in it. It's a good movie.
I was in the room while the movie was on.
That was
It's
that was the
very
nicest. That's a great point, Bestie, I've ever heard.
I'm trying my
um,
best to understand. Okay, we were talking about a thing. Take it away.
So other than the quarterback in the NFL and football, basketball is the sport where like having stars matters in terms of winning the absolute most. So the worse you are in a given season, the better opportunity you have to select a player who's coming either from the international ranks or from at least at this point in time the college ranks in what is called a first year or an amateur player draft. So the Sixers were like, our team is in limbo. We're good enough to make the playoffs every year, but not good enough to win, which means we don't get very good players in the draft, and there are no good players who are already in the league who want to come here. So they decided to basically trade everyone who was remotely good for more opportunities to draft players and also suck really bad for like a 4-year span. It ended up becoming 5 for injury reasons, but for a 4-year span, so that we can like be so bad that we have to get like at least a couple really really good players, and like it kind of worked. It kind of didn't. There's a hole. It's still
so surely it resulted in a championship for this team, putting their fans through this for 5 years.
See, if it resulted in a championship, it wouldn't be an ongoing debate now, would it?
Oh, there is an ongoing debate about this. This is not a settled matter.
Nah. The players they ended up picking either weren't as good as players who were picked after them, had significant injury concerns, had basically sort of personal problems that made them worse than they should have been, and the league basically forced the Sixers to replace their GM with a guy the league wanted to lead the team, and that guy promptly made a bunch of bad trades that basically erased all of the leftover assets.
Okay, wait. So hold on. So like okay, so if I'm following this correctly, it sounds that they did this little scheme to get all of the best players by losing a bunch, and then they did it sounds like they just did a bad job. They just didn't do the thing that they were trying to do. So what's the debate about?
Okay. The reason it's debatable is because they have actually won more now than they were before. The question is like, how much do you attribute it to uncontrollable factors like injuries or like a dude basically just flat out refusing to develop his game at all?
Okay.
Versus how much of this was just like, that was a stupid idea in the first place.
Got it. Okay. I think I'm following.
Yeah, I believe they drafted someone who like literally couldn't shoot, right?
They drafted someone who, if you watch him in practice, he certainly could shoot. In games, he flat out refused to shoot so much that they essentially fired a coach because he couldn't make him shoot.
Well, I figure pretty much anybody can shoot, right? Like unless you like don't have arms. Right?
I'm not a basketball pro, but I feel like that's like a pretty big thing that players in the National Basketball Association should do, right? That's like part of the game. It's the big part of the game is putting the ball in the basket.
Well, yeah, but also like anybody can shoot. I can shoot the ball at the basket. I'd do a bad job, but I could do it.
Right. I mean, like in practice, he was clearly getting better at putting the ball in the hoop from longer ranges, and then refused to do it in the games.
Okay.
So
they also passed on the Boston Celtics like superstar best player to instead draft a guy who was maybe good, but also got like who also basically developed the yips. The yips being a term for when you have like a psychological block that prevents you from doing something that would otherwise be routine for you.
Oh my god, I have that.
I was gonna say,
imagine when you go to talk to say something normal and you end up like with a terrible stutter. It's that, but essentially physically.
Mm.
The Mets famously had a catcher who had to walk halfway out to the pitcher's mound to get the ball back to him at one point because he got the yips and couldn't throw anymore.
Loved Mets.
Poor guy.
Let's go Mets, baby.
He's just out there trying his best.
Yeah, so they drafted. That was one of the issues with the players they drafted with the high picks. Another issue was that they basically took a player who, within days of getting drafted, discovered he had a deadly sesame allergy because he almost died.
What?
Within days after the draft from accidentally eating some sesame seeds and was out for an entire season.
Wait, you can be allergic to sesame seeds?
Apparently.
You can be allergic to something so hard that it puts you out for like 6 months.
Yeah. Zaire.
That's wild.
Zaire.
Oh my gosh.
Williams.
Okay.
Sesame.
Well, now I'm like really scared of sesame seeds.
Right?
It was both peanut and sesame. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Went through a I'm not going to try to pronounce that. A medical operation due to allergic reaction related to ingesting sesame.
Well, yeah, I guess that makes sense. I assume that allergies kind of work like combos in video games. So if you just have one allergic reaction, it's not that bad, like once you resolve it. But if you have two at the same time, then you're out for like 9 months.
It's like getting shot in the hip and like stabbed in the shoulder at the same time. It's probably worse than one or the
Yeah,
other.
I mean, probably. Well, yeah, I mean, those two things together would be bad, but I think either one of them happening on its own would put you out of a basketball season.
I, I feel like you could come back from that within 8 months, maybe
Okay.
7 months.
Anyway, that was a wild tangent. That whole situation with the team that was bad at being bad, that got you into basketball.
Yeah, because I was my friend was like, "You're a massive dork. You would love this." And I was like, "God damn it, you are correct." So that was my first foray into basketball. I ended up just kind of drifting away from football a little bit for a number of years. I don't really watch the NFL even now nearly as much as I used to in like high school. Um, so basically ended up getting more into basketball right after high school. And then I got to Duke. Duke very famously has an excellent men's basketball team. They are like an international brand, the same way that like Alabama football is, if honestly, probably a little bit more than that. Um, I also really enjoyed writing for the school paper in high school. So that resulted in me signing up for the paper basically as soon as I got there. And because men's basketball is such like a big thing, like there are genuine like professional writers who would kill for the opportunity that you get at the student paper to cover the men's team. You have to be at the paper for basically a full year before you can cover men's basketball.
Oh,
Which
wow.
means that when winter rolls around, you have other options that are basically swimming and diving, fencing, or women's basketball. Now, the Duke women's basketball team was also like a top tier program nationally, and so it's really good exposure for most people before they get into men's basketball if they're going to go there. After 1 year of covering the women's team, there was some interesting stuff going on, and I basically decided because I had to be a contrarian in anything if possible. I was like, nah, I don't care about men's basketball that much right now, and I'd rather be like a medium-sized fish in a small pond than a small fish in a big pond. So I stuck with women's basketball. Here we are.
Based, honestly.
It doesn't hurt, but it doesn't hurt that by that point in time I was like, I'm also a woman, so that helped.
It's true. And I can tell you a little bit about my personal experience with women's basketball, which is that a few years ago, when the New York women's team was like going through the championships, like the day of that championship game, the usual lesbian bar I go to was packed, which is really like really what I need to know about women's basketball is, I need to understand the finer details of it because there are girls there.
It's true.
Right.
Oh my gosh. I've like the WNBA games and the women's soccer league is also like amazing for the same reason. Yeah. In
All
fact,
right.
I know like San Francisco just opened its first like women's sports bar. Like it's a sports bar for women's sports primarily.
Mhm.
Oh, that rules.
And it does. And it's like basically just all like basically all queer women. And I've been meaning to check it out. So yeah, I think it's like really taking off, it seems like.
And New York City already has, or I guess had, between 4 and 6 dyke bars, depending on how exactly you define a bar. They're just opened up the city's first women's sports bar in the Lower East Side, and another one is set to open, I think, in a couple seasons, maybe. It's on Atlantic Avenue. I forget exactly where, but I know it's on Atlantic.
Okay.
So I guess Crown Heights.
Well, some destinations, some places to check out. What? So that's
But yeah, it is funny. The dyke bar in the city that's closest to me is like, so the New York WNBA team is called, they're called the New York Liberty, and sort of within walking distance of the stadium is basically the dyke bar that's closest to me in the city, and they're like part of the Liberty's like official bar network.
Oh my
for, like,
gosh.
showing their games when they're out of town.
That rules. Oh my god.
Their mascot actually showed up there during one of their away playoff games that was broadcast there and was like dancing and like buying people shots and everything.
Wait, what is
yeah.
the Liberty
That's so
mascot?
cute.
Is it like the Statue of Liberty or something?
So the Liberty mascot has actually gone viral over the past 2 years for being an elephant that dances incredibly well, dresses up like various pop stars, and has an extremely snatched waist.
What
Okay,
does
wait,
it?
wait. Okay, wait. So the mascot of the New York Liberty is an elephant.
Ellie the elephant.
I
Yeah,
love
what?
this. I don't understand why, but I love it.
What does a
I don't either.
what does a girl twink elephant have to do with New York City?
Everything.
The Bronx.
Okay, well,
Zoo?
when you put it like that. Okay, now I get
Can you look
it.
this
Now
up?
I'm turned around
That's
completely. I understand and agree.
Is this a result of mascot escalation after the need to compete with Gritty and like every team coming up with a more absurd mascot?
Yeah, and like Mr. Met transitioned. It was a whole thing.
Oh, I forgot about this. After the Brooklyn Bridge opened, they convinced people that it was safe to like use because it was the world's first suspension bridge. No, Manhattan was the first suspension bridge. It was the first whatever kind of bridge.
I almost just asked, was it the world's first bridge? Please don't please don't put in the chat that I am stupid.
Episode 2 of Bimbo Mentality is going to be about civil engineering.
I'm sure I can get. Yeah, I'm sure we can find somebody to teach us about bridges.
I'm sure
Oh,
there was a few bridges before the Brooklyn Bridge, probably. Maybe.
Yeah, like a couple.
Just get on to Alice Caldwell Cully. Well, there's your problem.
There's like
Another doll
stone
that-
bridges.
That's all talk about engineering.
The stone ones probably existed before the Brooklyn Bridge. The wooden ones.
The wood ones probably existed
Yeah.
before that.
Also, those ones that are like hanging over a gorge and they're like made mostly out of vines, but they have the little wood planks. Those ones probably existed before the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh yeah, the ones that always like get like cut in movies. Yep.
Yeah. That always looked fun, I thought. I thought that looked like it would be a lot of fun.
So when the Brooklyn Bridge opened, P.T. Barnum demonstrated it was safe by having a bunch of elephants walk over it.
Oh my god.
Oh, did it work? Were the
Hence
elephants
Ellie
okay?
the elephant. Well, the Brooklyn Bridge is still standing, so I
Oh, yeah.
to think they were. I mean, I'm sure they died.
That-
I'm sure they died at some point.
That made sense. Oh, well, that's sad. I didn't... that's
I'm
just elephants dying
I'm
of
sorry to
old
be the
age.
podcast that
Somehow that's sadder than them falling off a
you
bridge.
elephants die. Is it?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to change gears and argue
Oh no,
about
the
that
Bimbos
for
are
40
learning
minutes?
about mortality.
I get it.
What's the saddest cause of elephant death? Anyway, their mascot used to be a golden retriever before they were bought by new owners. New owners who actually cared about and liked the team, and then moved them to a fancy stadium, and then bought nice amenities and facilities and training staffs and everything.
Okay, so wait, you're telling me that the mascot of Liberty before the elephant was actually Air Bud, a famous basketball player?
Oh my
I have to
god.
inform you, the name of the dog was Maddie.
Wait, what?
Yeah, it was Maddie.
Oh, the dog, the
that's-
actual dog.
Mhm.
Oh my gosh. Okay, now I'm thinking of the fact that dog actor Maddie's probably dead too. What the? This is so sad.
She's probably still alive.
I-
Like, she was their mascot like 4 years ago.
Oh, the mascot. Sorry, I meant like actually Air Bud.
Oh yeah, Airbud's
The
dead
dog-
as
They're
shit.
both still alive in our hearts.
No!
And on our TV. Oh no!
Why would you tell me that? He could be the first like 28-year-old golden retriever.
I suppose that's possible. I don't have any hard proof to suggest otherwise. I'll tell you that much.
How old is the oldest dog ever? Things I need to know right now.
I've seen dogs. For the audience purposes, I'm a veterinary nurse, so this is actually an area of expertise for me. I've seen dogs come in that are like in the 20 range, but never a golden retriever.
Oh, okay.
My
Interesting.
guess would be that the oldest dog ever is like somewhere in the high 20s.
So much like there's no rules that say a dog can't play basketball, it also turns out that women can play basketball. The WNBA.
That is an excellent
I-
segue back in
I
the
was just gonna
general
say that.
direction of a point.
Thank you for keeping us on track.
So
I'm
Emily,
I'm known for my transitions.
we've talked a little bit about what got you into basketball and what brought you to women's basketball. What's interesting about women's basketball right now? What would be the hook to get somebody into women's basketball who's not currently a fan?
My argument for the WNBA is that there are two ways to consume it. You can consume it both ways, but I've never seen anyone pull that off. It's a game that has very rapidly gone from something that was akin to like 90s NBA ball, which was aesthetically unappealing. I think most people agree. To something it's spread out, it's fast paced. There's a lot of shooting. There's a lot of really exciting movement with everything, and it's increasingly getting a little bit complicated in the way there's like coaches play sort of chess matches with strategy. There's a lot of interesting schemes. There's more variety in play styles in the WNBA than there is in the NBA. And there's really a lot that's going on with player personalities on the court and how many players are able to succeed at like really unique and exciting roles and how teams are built and how they interact with each other and how all of this is working. That's one way to appreciate the game. You can also appreciate the game via this is the absolute messiest like major professional sport there is in America, and it's amazing.
Ooh.
The fans cannot stop harassing each other, and they're at each other's throats. The players are dating each other and then breaking up messily and having to be traded as a result. There are secret relationships. There are in the open relationships. There are really everything.
Emily,
Chicks
The
rock.
super exactly the superstar point guard for the superstar point guard for the Los Angeles Sparks right now. She was on Las Vegas before. Her boyfriend a few years ago, fiance, I believe, was the tight end for the Raiders at the time. And then they broke up, and it was so bad on him, he had to briefly retire from football. And that's not even getting into all the like relationships between women in the league.
Emily, it took you about half an hour to get to the hook that was gonna sell this for me. So really, WNBA is kind of just like Love Island for butch girls.
I have to admit, it's not quite as messy as uh, women's soccer, the NWSL, but I will argue it's much better representation for lesbians of color and mass lesbians.
Okay, that's important. Do you feel like it is a more like accurate reflection of the messy lesbian experience?
I think it varies based on your lesbian cohort. I think if you're thinking about the chart from the L word, that's the NWSL.
Okay.
If you're just like hanging out at your local dyke bar in the city, that's the WNBA.
That is the best way I have heard that put. I love that.
I have not
That's
watched
how.
The L Word, and I spend a lot of time in dyke bars in New York. So I think I know which direction I'm going on that.
We've hit your target audience.
Exactly.
The genuinely the biggest off the court story or like most popular part of the league off the court this year was a Twitch stream that two members of the Minnesota Lynx would do after every I believe it was after every game, or they would just do it like somewhat regularly. They did a 72-hour long live stream of All Star Weekend. So one of them was the starting point guard who had been there the year before. One of them was a backup point guard who was just acquired. They are both masked. They're both masked black lesbians, and so their stream was called Stud Buds.
That's cute.
Genuinely, like insanely popular. You had genuinely like Dave Portnoy, who was like
Oh
who
God.
was like a yeah. I don't need to explain who that is apparently, but he even he was like, wow, this is great. This is great for the league, just like with no irony in his voice whatsoever.
I do not know who Dave Portnoy is.
It's best. It's
Dave
best you
Port
don't.
no
Honestly.
Okay, well, all right, that's
Yeah, let's
fair.
leave it at that.
Yeah, so it sounds like it's one of my next questions was going to be like if we could sell WNBA not just in comparison to men's basketball, but just also like to someone who isn't big on basketball, who doesn't watch a lot of basketball in general. But I think you did because I assume that there aren't a lot of men's sports that are having this kind of messy dating drama. Like, I assume there were no stories about like secret locker room makeout sessions between, Shaq and Kobe.
That is definitely I think like I do follow the NBA a little bit too, and I like it definitely like is also like soap opera, I feel like in some ways, especially during the off season. But you're right. I think what sets the WNBA apart is like the like dating aspect of it is completely like foreign to men's sports, honestly. And like
It kind of sounds like my entire understanding of sports was all wrong. I sort of assumed it was like a game, and it sounds like it's more of a dating show.
It's the game of love.
I assume, and I'm not gonna like, I'm not gonna make too many assumptions, but I'm gonna kind of jump to the conclusion here that how various players do impacts their success with dating,
Hmm.
which is to
I always thought about it the other way around, but that's
oh,
interesting.
like how well they do at dating impacts how successful they are at the game.
Exactly.
Well, I have to assume that there's at least a little bit of like, I'll only go out with you if you win that game for us tomorrow.
I feel like that makes for a better Hulu series than real life, but that's certainly possible.
Well, I was gonna say, I wonder now if it would be possible to construct a like fantasy WNBA dating season, like where they do with the fantasy football, where it's like all based on the stats and stuff, where like if there can be a fantasy game that evaluates all of the players' success with dating.
Are we defining success as longevity, as volume? What are we doing
I
here?
think that there are lots of different sort of ways that we can measure the stats to assign different kinds of point totals to them.
In fantasy, there are different ways to score. In real life, there are different ways to score.
Exactly. If you score in real life, you score in the game.
Oh God.
this is a
I
completely
suppose.
different kind of
Yeah.
fantasy
I'm so glad
basketball
my
right
boss
now.
isn't going to listen to this.
Emily, do you think there will ever be a WNBA star who has the sort of cultural prowess to star in Space Jam 3?
I'd be shocked if I'd be shocked if it wasn't the case. To be honest,
Totally.
like at this case, like yeah, I think like Caitlin Clark was genuinely and by a decent margin like the most popular sports person in the United States last
I
year.
do know who that
Um,
is, which is like a
wow, there
big
we
deal
go.
for me. I do in fact feel like I could rattle off the names that I know in basketball, and it's the ones who could headline a Space Jam movie.
Emily, I'd love your take on like the growth of like fame of the WNBA stars now. Like it feels like we're at this like big moment for like women's sports in general, but the WNBA particularly. And I know like I actually have followed a little bit of the like drama going on between like the league commissioner over the last week and like some words that she apparently said about like a bunch of the players and about Caitlin Clark. And it feels like that is like a like huge thing right now because I know like the new player contract, right, or something is happening maybe soon. And so I feel like we're at like a major point for like the league, but for like the legitimacy and popularity of like women's sports in this country. Or am I way off base here?
No, you're absolutely on right on the money. There is so there are a couple facets to that. You know, the league is entering the league and its union are entering negotiations on a new collective bargaining agreement. That's going to start up this winter, and it's you know it, it certainly sounds like it's going to delay a bunch of free agency actions. Free agency being how you acquire new players whose contracts have expired before. Essentially, the entire league, other than those who are still playing on their first contracts, because your first contract in the league has a very set length. Otherwise, everyone who previously had their contract expire and got to basically decide how long they were signing for decided to sign such that their contracts would expire this winter.
Oh
So
wow.
basically, every team, most almost every team is going to change significantly. And beyond that, we have no idea what the new collective bargaining agreement is going to look like. So we don't know what the player salaries are going to be. We don't know how they're going to introduce. There's 2 new teams coming into the league this year. The commissioner has said they're going to be introduced with similar sort of player movement mechanisms the way one was last year, but we're not certain about that. We don't know sort of when the first year player amateur draft is going to happen, stuff like that, because these negotiations need to happen. And these negotiations are also the first time that the players really have pretty strong leverage with regards to ownership because of how the league has blown up recently. And that's not just because of Caitlin Clark. The league was growing pretty significantly before she joined. And even, she missed basically the second half of this year, and viewership has continued to trend upwards. So these trends are both independent of her and also strongly benefited by her presence. The WNBA also, off the back of that growth, and Caitlin Clark sort of signed. The NBA leads a lot of it because the NBA has, I think, it's a 49% ownership stake in the W. I think it's 49%. They signed an 11-year new media rights contract that significantly ups the amount of money that's at stake here that we're talking about.
I do. This is totally superficial and just like based off of vibes, but I do kind of feel like uh, women's sports is really poised, like it's already kind of growing in popularity. I mean, maybe even just like, I mean, maybe because there's like exciting things happening, but also maybe just like novelty because the old sports are getting boring. But like, it's growing in popularity right now when we're in sort of a reactionary cultural moment. And in a couple years, when the pendulum swings back and we get super wokeness, women's sports is going to explode.
Wokeness too.
Wokeness too. Yeah.
Super wokeness.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we elect President Hunter Biden,
Yeah.
actually every single man in the country is going to be forced to watch the WNBA on a nightly basis. And they're going to like it.
When we get a wokeness that like when it gets woke so hard that they put a chick in Space Jam 3, like they're gonna have Bugs Bunny wearing the short shorts and making out with Daffy Duck.
And Lola Bunny wearing a suit and pants.
Yeah, while Lola and Caitlin Clark do layups.
Make out. Oh, that's him.
Nice callback to the beginning.
Thank you. I was gonna kind of ask Emma, what do you feel like you've learned from this engagement?
I've learned a lot about. I think I wasn't aware of the more like the fun side of following the WNBA. I've like tangentially sort of heard some things, but it seems like it tickles the same itch as scratches the same itch, tickles the same itch, it scratches, right? I don't know. What are idioms?
I believe you scratch an itch. I don't think you
scratch
usually
an itch and...
sometimes you like
wait,
slap
there's
it a little bit, but I've never heard...
What do you tickle? Do you tickle a tickle?
Okay, there's something that's tickle though, right? There's some phrase that's like
tickle your fancy.
That's it. Tickle your fancy. Okay, that was the one I was looking for. Scratch the itch, I think was actually what I was looking for. I lied. And now I forgot what I was going to say. Oh no. Okay. I learned that I didn't realize there were like sort of 2 ways to follow the sport, and I think like because I was curious when you said like you can do one or the other, you usually don't do both, and I guess I could see why.
There are people I appreciate both, but there are people I think who I don't know anyone who's good at like following or covering both sides like without like very clearly being strongly for one or the other. The most fun part is when someone who's really into one and someone who's really into the other collide.
I learned what a layup is, and I learned that elephants cannot break the Brooklyn Bridge, and I learned that WNBA stars love to have messy breakups, and that I had a 4th thing, but I can't remember what it was.
I learned that dogs could be 20 years old, actually.
That can happen. It's not unheard of. It's not common, but it's not unheard of.
That blew my mind. I also did not know the mascot was an elephant in the first place.
Yeah.
So that was great.
Yeah, Emily, do you feel like you have successfully thought like a bimbo enough to teach us about your passion?
I think we're getting there. I think I'm understanding.
Okay. All right. That's I'm gonna take that. I feel like the real mission of the Bimbo Mentality podcast is just for it's not even about us understanding the topic. It's just about all of us understanding each other.
Exactly. It's to bridge the divide between the bimbos and the
That's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's beautiful.
what's the other
the
end of that
people who do
spectrum?
things. The people who like make things and
Perfect.
accomplish goals.
We're all bimbos about something. We just
That's
gotta find
true. Right. Well, does anyone have any other final contributions?
Oh wait, I also learned that there was a player who like refused to shoot a basketball while playing basketball. So
Oh
that
yeah,
was
that was my fourth thing. I learned that you can suck so hard at basketball that you make a lot of money, like in Moneyball starring Brad Pitt.
No, that's the worst part. Is he wasn't bad. He was good at the other stuff.
it's just like
He
Moneyball.
refused
I'm
to
gonna just
shoot.
say it's just like Moneyball all the time now in like random
It's
conversations.
really like exactly
It's my
like
new
Moneyball.
it's my new vocal tick.
Classic basketball movie Moneyball starring Brad Pitt and Bugs Bunny.
Moneyball. It's my
Moneyball.
favorite
All right.
one.
Oh my god. Oh my
You have to make
god.
fun of that.
That's so amazing.
All right. I think I learned a lot about women's basketball. I think that I am going to be taking all of the information that I learned and I'm going to be using it to flirt with cute girls at bars, really for all of time. I'm then gonna go up to them and be like, hey, baby, what's your favorite WNBA messy couple?
That's actually an amazing question. That's actually an amazing pickup question. I'm not
Right?
even gonna lie.
Seriously, that is really good.
My advice to all the lesbians listening to this is go to your local-ish WNBA game. You're gonna see so many fucking queers there. It's crazy.
Hell yeah.
I am now like I now need LA to have a like women's sports bar. Like I'm this is like a huge thing.
Do they not have
Well,
one?
Emma,
I
I
don't
think you
know.
gotta start that sports bar you want to see in the world.
Oh my god.
They
Okay.
do. It's called Untamed Spirits.
Y'all, I was just gonna say
It just
I
opened.
just Googled it. It opened like 3 months ago.
Mhm.
Oh, hell yeah.
Okay.
We've learned something else today.
Okay, I just gotta say this is like the most momentous thing I learned today is that there is a sports bar here for women. Okay, this is
I'm
amazing.
so happy for you.
News you can use.
Next, whenever I get around to visiting you in LA, we'll hit it up.
Yes, we will. We can also go to a game even. That'd be so fun.
That would be fun. We would be coming full circle, and I would be learning a lot. I bet they'd have a lot of elephants walking on bridges there.
And layups. There'd be a lot of
There'd
layups.
be so many layups. There'd be like a crazy amount of layups. Lola Bunny would be there. It's gonna be great. I think on that note, that's where we will wrap up our adventures today. Emily, do you have anything you want to plug for us before we wrap up?
I would love to. You can currently find my stuff under Emily Adler at the Nine Basketball. For business reasons, I'm not going to get into that I don't fully understand either. Our URL is thenexthoops.com. That will soon not be the URL, but it is for now. You can find my writing there. You can find all of our beat writers and reporters writing there. There's writing for everyone from about women's basketball at basically every level, from the most complicated stuff to the most basic. I'm also going to plug one of my best friend's videos on YouTube that his general videos on YouTube, Hunter Cruz. Those are excellent if you're trying to get into the league as well. He does a really good job breaking stuff down and explaining everything in a very entertaining way.
That's amazing. Everybody go and check out Emily's writing. As for us on Bimbo Mentality, you can catch us next time when we talk about AI data centers.
Oh my god, I'm gonna That one's gonna be great. I'm gonna be way out of my depth on that.
Real jarring shifting tone between episodes.
That's a bimbo mentality, baby. We just go back and forth between all kinds of things. Okay, dear audience, we will catch you next time. Emily, it's been an absolute blast. Have fun with your layups.